Here's the project I wanted to show you today, simple command injection. So here's a form you'll see in, say, your router's configuration page. There's a page that says test your internet connection. You can put in an IP address and send pings. And so you see this response, you'll probably recognize, this is the command line utility ping. So what's happened here is the coder has done a very sloppy, unwise thing. I'm the coder, but this is commonly done. I didn't figure out, this is written in PHP, the script you're talking to. But I did not figure out how to send a ping from inside PHP. Instead, I created a line of bash command line and then executed it with bash. This is how you get command injection vulnerabilities. You use one language to make a line of text, and then you feed that to another language to interpret it. And if you include user-included content there, like I did here, then you get command injection vulnerability. It's going to execute ping minus C2 to send 2 pings, and then it's going to put in the IP address that came from the user. And that means I can just put a semicolon here and add another command like ls. And now, even though I'm talking to a PHP script, it's going to end up executing that in a bash command shell, and I get an ls showing me what's on the server. So that's command injection vulnerability. It's very dangerous, and one of the huge problems in the internet is now all large language models suffer from this vulnerability, and there is currently no solution. So it's actually extremely unwise that people are putting AIs all over the place because they have serious vulnerabilities that have not been addressed, and adding AIs to your system adds this vulnerability. But anyway, this is the old-fashioned command injection. So now I can execute any Linux command I want on the server. Like I can find out who I am with who am I. And who I am is www.data, which is the Apache user. I'm not root, which would be the administrator, but I can now go execute commands on the server, so I can execute things like ls and grep and cat and find. And you can click these to learn more about these commands, or you can do the Linux Journey project that explains basic Linux commands to you. And by using these, you can find various flags on the server. So that's the first case of command injection. Now the next one is kind of more fun. If you have an image to work with, let's find an image. We're at a 129S. There's probably a textbook image or something. There we are. There's a textbook image. Let's save this image as download webapp.jpg. That'll be fine. All right. So I can upload. This is a flaw called the ImageMagick vulnerability. And this is one of the huge flaws that caused people to realize that Linux is not more secure than Windows. Up until about 2010 or 2014, everybody thought Linux was intrinsically more secure than Windows. And then there were several fatal flaws that occurred only on Linux to enlighten people to the fact that they're both only as secure as the wisdom of your system administrator. And this is one of the ones that affected Linux servers only. So you can upload a file. I can choose a file, and I can upload that web app, and then upload it. And it's going to, I put in here, it shows you what to do. So it's going to do this convert command, which is part of that Linux ImageMagick library, to convert it to a 300 by 300 thumbnail. And then if you click the thumbnail, you'll see the full-size image. That's all this does. This is the kind of image processing you'll see in every forum and such. But the point is, this library used to do this conversion had a serious security flaw. And here's how you exploit it. You make a file with this contents. Let me go to my text editor here. Make a new page and put in that text. And just save it with the name that makes it look like an image. So I'll put it in download as exploit.ping. It's really a text file, but it looks like a ping. Now I can upload that file, ping, and then upload the image, and now I see hello and the date here. And now let's look at what was in that file. What's going on here is the people that made this library didn't consider it good enough to just process images. They made it possible to add text to your images in the file that would control the image. So you can define the size of the image and you can fill the background with a color. And then they decided for some reason that it's not enough to just fill it with a color. You can fill it with a varying color where it loads the color from a web page. So I guess you can make a flickering page or something. So you have this fill URL command that then has a URL, and the way they implemented it was they just used the bash command line curl followed by this URL. Just like my script had ping followed by data from the user, they have curl followed by data from the user. So you can use this format where you use a pipe, and now here you can add extra commands. And I added echo hello and date. So these bash shell commands executed on the server. So you have command injection, so you can find out what's on the server by, say, you can change that date to an ls, and you'll get a list of what files are on the server. So I'll save that and upload it again. And when you upload it now, here's the list showing you the names of files on the server. And so you can read the contents of these files and so on. So it's the same thing. You've got a command injection vulnerability. And there's a third one available here. These are all the same vulnerability in different files. This one is Drupal command injection. Drupal is an alternative to WordPress. It's an open source web design platform, and it had a series of really fatal security flaws called Drupalgeddon and Drupalgeddon 2 and Drupalgeddon 3. And this, I think, is the first Drupalgeddon. So if you go to this, I made a vulnerable Drupal website. I put it behind some authentication because otherwise automated attacks will destroy it within an hour. This blocks the automated attacks. So you have to get in with student 1 and student 1. And now you see a site. I don't have any content on the site. It's just sitting there, but it is vulnerable, and you can exploit it. But to exploit it, you need to have the ability to run a Python script. Python. And so you can do it from a Linux machine or a Mac or even a Windows machine if you install Python. Or you could do it from Google Colab. Any of those environments will do. So let me just go here. Let's clear and see if I have a directory for this. Nope, I'll make one then. Oh, I got to go home. Okay. Yeah, then ls. Yeah, there's drew.py. I'm going to make a new one. Nano drew2.py. All right, so this is the request, and you can see what it's going to do. It's going to go to user register, and it's going to send in register a new user, and someplace where it puts in the email address, there is the flaw. Here it's able to execute an unusual command. This is going to echo this smiley face thing into a file called yourname.txt. And one thing to know is when you're doing these attacks, often certain characters are forbidden. So here, I can't use the greater than sign, which redirects output. I have to use pipe T. This is very common. You'll see this in all the projects here. You often cannot use arbitrary characters. You can only use certain characters, and you have to work around that. So this will make a file called yourname.txt. Now, when you do this, every time you run it, it makes a new file, and you can't change the file once it's up there. So every time you're going to have a new name here. So I'm going to make this, whatever the date is, 0828. That'll probably do. And there's 3 places where it appears. And every single request, you're going to have to change this name. So I have some students that actually write the script to be more efficient, but I just change it manually 3 places. And so now if I run that, Python 3 drew 2, it runs, and if it succeeds, then this will now contain a smiley face on my servers, creating a new file on my server for every one. And it did. It has a smiley face. So now you could find out what's on that server. You got to change the name every time. So I'm going to make it 0828A and A and A. And then I'm going to change the command. Here's the command, echo something pipe T. Here's something, by the way, I usually don't change the existing one because if you mess up any of these punctuation marks, you'll break it. I just go to the end and put in a semicolon. Now I'll do a semicolon ls. That'll list the files in the current directory on the server. And I might want to know where I am too. I can do print working directory to see where I am. This is the safest way to add more commands. However, in this case, I think I'm wrong. That's because the output doesn't go there. The output has to be here. I have to put it in that file, so I have to put it back here. So I'm going to have to be a little careful and put it here, ls, there. That'll do it. That'll put it in that file. I can't put multiple commands on one line because I can't see the output except for the one command that goes in that file. So this should give me a list of files on the server. Let's run that again. Okay, there's the URL. And there you go, a list of all the files on the server, and there's a lot because all the students have just been creating files messing up my server. But the point is, and now, again, there's a bunch of flags you can find up there. There are some hidden files on the server. So you have to use like the find command and the other commands before. And if you don't know any command line bash, you should do like Linux Journey first, probably, to practice with the Linux commands and get used to it. But anyway, that's the command injection project. And like all of them, there's some required part and a whole lot of extra credit. So you don't have to do it all, but if you do, you'll have extra credit and then you can blow off something else. So that's what I wanted to show you. I'm going to stop the recording. I see we're pretty much right on time here.